What's going on, guys? Welcome into the Bulls Report. Before we hop in today's show, we're going to be talking about Joel Embiid. I got my man, Matthew Peterson, with me, and we're both Chicago guys. And we talk about this in the office all the time. What's the better deep dish pizza, Malnati's or Giordano's? Petey, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, I'm Team Lose here. For me, it's the first thing I get every time I touch down at O'Hare, and it's the last thing I have before I leave. I am a Lou Malnati's ride or die guy. I know you're Giordano's,
I know, I am a Giordano's
but it's
guy.
Lou's. That's the only right answer.
Yeah, see, I got to go Giordano's. I'm just more of a fan of the not so tomatoey and chunky tomatoes and Lou's, but there is no wrong answer here.
That's
I'll make
true.
that very, very clear. But we'll ask you guys, what is the better Chicago pizza? Give us an L for Luminati's or give us a G for Giordano's. I'm actually very curious to see what they got to say here.
Yeah, it
But
should be a good vote.
today's show, we're going to be talking about the Bulls possibly trading for Joel Embiid during the 2023 offseason. Obviously, there was reports coming out that since the 76ers lost to the Boston Celtics in 7 games in the second round of the NBA playoffs, the Joel Embiid trade rumors have kind of taken a fire, and we're going to be talking about if the Bulls could be that team that could pull off this massive blockbuster trade to get Joel to Chicago. Petey, how would you feel about it?
I mean, one, we all know that the NBA offseason is sort of the in-season for every team that finished below like the number 4 or 5 seed mark in the playoffs. So you can never quite rule out any sort of trade rumor during the offseason. But we're going to break down Joel Embiid, and he's a big name. He's a reigning MVP. I don't know if it's what the Chicago Bulls team really needs right now. I don't
Yeah.
know if they are an aging center away from going on a championship, or maybe not even a championship run, but going, towards the top of the Eastern Conference. So I'm probably tentatively passing right off the bat here, but let's kind of break down this idea. Now, if you are looking to subscribe, Seeps, this is the channel, right?
Yeah, this is the channel to do so. We've been picking up subscribers left and right, and it's all credit to you guys, so we really do appreciate it. But if you guys already are subscribed, just type me down in the comment section. I'll be sure to get down there and show you guys some love. We're going to try to get you guys daily videos throughout this whole offseason because, honestly, the Bulls, their roster, you're going to need to make a lot of moves towards it and just kind of to take a step in the right direction. And, we're going to have you covered with all news and rumors, whatever it may be.
Plus, Seeps is a nice guy, so he's not going to air this out for you all, but he comes in an hour and a half early every single day just to get a Bulls video done because that was sort of the deal he broke with our bosses to get him the extra studio space to do this. So help him prove, our boss is somewhat wrong, that the Bulls fans can't show up and we can get some subscribers here. Now, let's talk money here because the NBA is all about balancing contracts. Anytime you make a big trade like this, and Joel is not a cheap dude, right? He's got a lot of years left on his deal, and they are not cheap.
Yeah, I mean, just first off, kind of a key point. NBA contracts in general, this is ridiculous. I mean, $46.9 million next year, 50.6 the year after, then 54, and then damn near $58.1 million. Pretty much to sum it up, Joel Embiid, he's not going to be cheap to trade for. I mean, if you're trading for this guy, he is your centerpiece. Obviously, he just won an MVP. I do think he can be a number 1 on a championship team. But again, the biggest kind of concern with Joel over the past couple of years, it has been the injury bug, and that's what kind of has bit him the most. I mean, only missing 30 games the last 2 seasons is not too bad, but it's missing those key playoff games, PD. That's kind of would steer me away.
Agreed. And also, like, while he might not have missed many games in the postseason the last 2 years, damn well he is playing through some injuries in the postseason, and he is far from 100%, right? And Doc Rivers comes sort of, from that Tom Thibodeau tree, or I guess Tom Thibodeau comes from the Doc Rivers tree of, we're going to burn you out in the regular season, and it's going to be a price to pay when the postseason comes around, and inevitably, you can pretty much guarantee life taxes, and Embiid gets hurt in April and May.
Yeah, every single year. And plus, like, even though it is only 2 playoff games the past 2 years, if the Bulls were kind of to consolidate a bunch of assets and trade for him, I mean, could you imagine if it's like a huge Game 5 first round and the series is tied 2-2 and it's like, oh, shit, he is hurt again.
Right. And the other thing with Embiid is just I don't see a reason to believe why these numbers are going to go down, right? With the big fellas like this, with the centers, the longer they play, the more wear and tear that goes on their knees, their ankles, and their feet that's holding up these ginormous human beings.
Yep.
Those are going to add up. And you just don't see age. You just don't see centers age, like fine wine. It's not like quarterbacks sometimes where the older they get, maybe the better they get in some situations. It could not be more the opposite, I think, for centers. Now, Embiid over the last 4 years, I mean, Patrick, he's been one of the best, right? We know that.
I mean, these look like 2K, like my career numbers. I mean, averaging 30 plus the last 2 seasons. I mean, this past year, obviously winning MVP, 33 points a game, over 10 rebounds, just under 2 blocks a game. Nobody's doubting what Joel can do from a production standpoint, especially in the regular season. But I will say this, we have seen the numbers sort of decline a little bit the past 2 postseasons. We just said he was averaging 30 a game in the regular season. He's only averaging about 23 a game in the postseason.
And I think right now for the Bulls, like step one is get the regular season down. Right?
Yes,
Like
yes.
while we look ahead to the postseason, what Embiid could do if he was, in Chicago playing in meaningful basketball in May and June, that's great and all. But step one is let's get Chicago, out of just the horrible cycle that is the like 12 through 8 range, right? Where you're kind of right there
Yep.
in the play-in game, and you're just going in circles year in and year out. And Embiid's going to help you get out of that. But also, you got to think a little bit down the line of he's going to help you get out of it, but for such a short window because, like I said earlier, he's aging, and these guys do not play as well as other position players do later on in their career. Now, we're going to look at a mock trade idea, but just sort of off the bat here, would you trade for Joel Embiid, right? If you had the green light to go ahead and pull the trigger on a trade, Seeps, are you going with T for trade, P for pass? What's your kind of gut reaction?
I mean, obviously, I would be in on trading for Joel Embiid. I mean, you're getting the former MVP on your roster.
You can't not be excited if you get the notification from Bulls Report.
Yes, exactly.
Chicago Bulls land blockbuster trade and get Joel Embiid.
But it comes at what cost? You're going to have to give up a ton to get him.
Yeah.
And then, like, the injury concern and the money situation with Embiid, like, it's just like, yes, it would be worth it. Like, you're getting a top 5 talent, top 7 talent in the NBA, but it's kind of just like, with what you would have to give up for him and kind of like his inconsistency of just staying healthy and just being a postseason player, I don't know. But this was the deal. I kind of hopped up in the NBA trade machine. You obviously got to make the money work here.
Yep.
It's a blockbuster move, and honestly, I still don't even think the Sixers probably say yes to this. You're going to have to give up DeMar, P-Dub, Dalen, Terry, and a couple of picks.
Yeah, I mean, just 2 first-round picks right there kind of surprised me. I thought it would, and I think it would probably cost you a little bit more.
Yeah.
But honestly, the box just isn't big enough to get what the 76ers would want for Joel Embiid, which from the Philadelphia point of view, I think they have to be fielding calls, right? They got to answer the phone because the process is not work. The process worked, but the process of getting the best players during the process hasn't always worked for Philly. So they've got to be open-minded a little bit here. Now, you get to hold on to some key pieces like Zach LaVine, right?
Yeah.
And you get to get a nice, up-and-coming rotation-ish. And I just don't know if that is a starting 5 that can win an NBA championship. And if you're making a move like this, you have to have the aspirations of being successful in the postseason.
And that's the thing. Like, we've seen it with the Suns this past season. Like, you can go get 2, 3 superstars, and you can win a lot of games. But the rest of the guys on this roster, like, if you would kind of have to overhaul your team and go get a guy like Embiid.
The bench would be awful.
Bench would be awful. You'd be extremely top-heavy.
Rest in peace to the bench mob.
Yeah, serious. I mean, we've seen it with the Suns especially. Like, you can have those top-end players, that top-end talent, but it's team basketball still. It's still a team sport.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I would be against trading for Joel.
I know. You'd have to, like, drag Corey Brewer or Keith Bogans out of retirement to come
CJ
play.
Watson.
Yeah, get Corver off the bench shooting a couple threes. Again, like, is this team better with Joel Embiid? Yes. Is this team going to have a lot of success to warrant giving up future assets at Embiid's age? That's where I'm kind of hesitant. And then it's like, well, it'd be a fun move. And the NBA offseason for a majority of fans is better than the regular season because if you're not one of the top 4 teams, if you're not a top 4 team in the East or the West or whichever conference is having a better season that year, the top 8 or 10, the regular season could just be a sprint to get to the offseason to talk about trading for guys like Joel Embiid. So what do you guys think? Would you accept this trade? DeRozan's been fantastic for Chicago since coming over.
Yeah.
Patrick Williams has shown promise, I think, right? A bit of a contentious pick at the time, but he definitely hasn't been an all-time bust or anything like that. But he also hasn't looked like someone who is a building block for this team.
Yeah, he hasn't looked like the top 4 pick that the Bulls took him, but I still got hope for Patrick Williams. But I don't know. This would be a haul. Let us know. A for accept, D for decline. And if you guys made it to the end of the video, we've been doing this a little bit. Just give me a C red, down in the comments section. It's going to be a big offseason for the Chicago Bulls, and make sure you guys subscribe, stay in the loop. Petey, thank you so much for hopping on here with us.
Yeah, it was awesome. Type C red, and also right before we hit the outro video, type L for Malnatis.